Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum, you are tuning into Her Chronicles on Salam Radio 106.2 FM, a radio show where we take a deep dive into womanhood, various aspects of a young woman's life, including her physical, emotional and social experiences. I'm your host, Maleeha Iqbal, and for the next hour, I will be discussing what is Peterborough's culture, my experience with trying to form a relationship with the culture around me, and why is culture so important. So why is it that whenever we're around Peterborough, or if you're speaking to maybe someone in the local government or just having a conversation with someone, you'll hear the word culture being brought up a lot. You'll kind of see it around you, but maybe you don't realize that's a part of your culture, it's a part of your identity because you've never had a connection with it. And so we're going to be exploring why is it people want to see culture, what is the importance of culture, how can you identify what it means to be part of a community where that is the fundamental root to a community growing, and ways to kind of adapt to different cultures. Maybe it's through the workplace, maybe it's through your local worship environment, or maybe it's through the people you're closest to, such as family and friends that shape the culture around you. So going back to the main question, why is culture important in Peterborough? Well, for me, culture is a fundamental part of our character. To me, culture is a part of our experiences, our interactions. It's what shapes us into becoming a more well-rounded human being. Maybe you experience culture through your hobbies and passion projects, or you experience it through connecting with new people, or maybe you experience it through going to events or being part of the community, where you go to events such as Youth Fest, which we had a few weeks ago, or kind of any upcoming project that's going on around Peterborough. Maybe you take an active part of the community, so you're a part of Peterborough's museum, where you experience the art culture, or you work with metal, or you just like going to metal because you're into creativity, whether it's through art or, like I said before, passion project. But that is your culture, it's a part of who you are. And you choose to go to these places and have those experiences because it's what makes you you. It's what drives your passion and love for something else other than your workplace or your school education. It's something different that we all get to experience it. Peterborough, for me, Peterborough's culture, which I don't really know what Peterborough's culture is, if I'm being honest, but my experience with culture as a whole kind of began when I started my level 3 BTEC at Peterborough College, where a lot of our assignments were shaped around the city Peterborough and what the culture is. Is the culture through the people? Is the culture through the history of the city? Is the culture through buildings? Is it through connections you make with people? Is it through art? So a lot of our assignments made us question, actually, how do we identify with Peterborough's culture? Do we feel like we would be accepted if we were to delve right into it? Or do we need to kind of assess the scenes that take place in Peterborough, such as these events, community meetings, and so forth? How can we identify with the culture if we don't really know what it is? So for a lot of my assignments, it was go out there and show me in a creative way how you are integrating into Peterborough's culture. So we were allowed to pick a few different assignment kind of overall projects that we were allowed to choose from. So mine was a podcast and an album, a photography album, where I decided that I wanted to go down the route of sharing cultural foods around Peterborough that have been about for the last 20 years and so forth. I kind of was like, okay, what is the best way for me with my own culture that I have from my place of home and from that my family and friends have given me? How can I integrate to a whole new different scene and not feel overwhelmed or feel like I don't belong? So I decided that food was the best place to start. I am such a foodie, as is everyone else in their own way. And I genuinely had an interest because, you know, you kind of look around Peterborough and you see a lot of different restaurants, a lot of different cuisines, but it's not really broadcasted enough, I don't think. Maybe on social media, but not so much as in a creative way where you really get a first-hand experience of what to look forward to in Peterborough, which is a lot of the time the food. And so I researched into cultural food places around Peterborough, just food in general. What does Peterborough have to offer? Why is it that certain restaurants are catering towards a specific traditional cuisine and others aren't? Why do people come to Peterborough to set up their businesses? What's the driving force? Where does their passion and love for food come from? I wanted to take a more deep, meaningful route down it. So I'm shedding a light on local businesses, but also getting across the message of cultural food, bringing people together, bringing up the questions of, does this make me feel more connected to my own culture? Is this the other flavors I'm tasting? Are those the meaningful deep roots of someone else's culture that they're bringing to share with others? What is the purpose of culture? I feel like those were the questions that I wanted to arise when people look at my pictures. And so I did my research. I went around the local area of Peterborough, the Media and Journalism Centre, so kind of Broadway Street, I think it's called, and went into a few restaurants, spoke to a few different restaurant owners about their businesses, why they came to Peterborough, how long they've been about, and what are they bringing to the food scene, what makes their business so unique, their food so unique. And along with that, I bought my camera where I would take pictures of people enjoying the food or just behind the scenes of people making the food. And from there, I had some amazing eye-opening conversations with restaurant owners that made me question, actually, is this Peterborough's culture or is this someone else's, but they're bringing it to Peterborough to make a new community of people who feel like they're not connected to their own heritage, perhaps, or they feel they're kind of lost because they've come to Peterborough and moved away from their home country or their friends and family, and so this food makes them feel like they're back at home, makes them feel like they can connect with their roots more. Those are the type of conversations I was having, and it was very wholesome and heartwarming to have those conversations because it kind of been easy moving to Peterborough and leaving everything you know behind, especially the food. And I got to try some really delicious food that it was a really cultural experience, and I kind of ventured out of my bubble of what my own personal connection with culture was and experienced it through someone else's eyes, experienced a little glimpse into Peterborough's culture, but not exactly have I found it where I can actually describe it. and I can actually capture it all, because there's so many different elements, and that's what we're going to go on to briefly. But just there's so many different aspects into Peterborough's culture, because we have a range of different people, a range of different spaces that people are welcome to express their culture, to unite with something that they enjoy and they love, and find a deeper meaning into culture. And what I mean by different aspects of culture is you can experience it through so many different environments, such as your workplaces, places of worship, your heritage, your family and friends. The places and people we are constantly around build bridges in our hearts and create cultural norms and values. And what I mean by this is, for me, culture came through my heritage. It came through looking at the older generation, so my granddad and my grandma, understanding how they immigrated to Peterborough. That, in a sense, to me was my culture, because it was my heritage of travelling and adapting to new cultures and values for them. It came from, okay, well, I'm a person of colour, which means I have so much deep-rooted history and so much love for it, and that's what I want to explore and discover, and that's my culture, that's my piece. But then it's also, well, no, because as you grow, as you meet new people, as you learn new things, your culture is constantly, your cultural senses are constantly going to grow and adapt, and your values and your norms will change as well. Just with growing in general, we experience different things, and from college I experienced a different sense of what the word culture even means and how to even identify with it now. As a young adult, I'm still learning what it means and how I can identify with it, because culture is such a big word and it means something to every single person you come across. But in order to feel connected with it, you have to experience it. And maybe you have and you don't even realize, because it's not something that is really taught to us, is it? Or, okay, well, this is the one-on-one on what it means to be a cultural person. This is what it means to get out there and kind of feel that hole in your heart, perhaps, of passion and love, and finding a deeper connection with your character, I believe, does come from culture. So yes, we see glimpses of it, but is Peterborough really the place to experience it? Is there more to culture outside of Peterborough? And of course there is, but that being said, as a Peterboroughian, I guess you could call me, I want to experience it here, and I would like to experience it through places and through people, but we don't really hear about it much. Of course, we have the Peterborough Cultural Alliance, and we have other events being held, like, for example, Youth Fest. But do we need to see more of this? Do we need to see more of a push for culture being more of a priority in Peterborough? Well, that is a whole other topic we could bring up, really, is the lack of recognition for culture. I believe there is a huge lack of recognition, especially when, well, I know for a fact that at college they're still doing these assignments and they're still bringing culture to the table, because they want young people to experience it. Because as a whole, young people have their own culture, which they can choose to identify with it however they like to, but we need to recognize it, I feel, as a city. But how can we do that? How can we bring up more conversations about culture? How can we adapt to it without feeling like an imposter when we go to do so. And I think I found this quote, which I feel is really fitting to this conversation. And it's, culture does not change because we desire to change it. Culture changes when the organization is transformed. The culture reflects the realities of people working together every day. And that to me is a quote where it's just right there in your face. Do we, as the people of Peterborough, as the citizens of Peterborough, do we have to actively make the change in order to evolve into the next year, for example? Is culture still going to be around, let's say, in 5 to 10 years' time? How is culture going to change? Is it going to change drastically? Is it going to be less of a priority? Are we going to still see it in the next 5 to 10 years? Who knows? So do we have to be the ones to strive to make a change for that? But that is the question we are going to be answering in the next segment. However, join me after this nasheed break. Thank you.
On a clear and moonlit night, in the dark cave of Hira, a man began to cry, "Oh Allah, show me the light. Tell me why I was created. Where will I go after I die? What's the purpose of this life, where people murder and lie? How can I stop the corruption? Oh Allah, you're my only God. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Ya Rasul Allah, Ya Habib Allah, Ya Safi Allah. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Anta gharami, dhikru kalami kulla ayami. On that clear and blessed night, Jibreel came to Hira. He hugged Prophet Muhammad until he thought he would die. Read, O Muhammad, read, in the name of your Lord. By Allah, you've been chosen over the whole of mankind. You've been elevated high, like the moon up in the sky. Hayya ibadallah, ahibba Allah, sallu ala nabi. Hayya ibadallah, ahibba Allah, sallu ala nabi. Ya Yasin, Ya Khalil Allah, Ya Amin, Ya Naji Allah, Ya Makin, Ya Shahid Allah, Ya Mukhtar, Ya Hafi Allah, Ya Taha, Ya Habib Allah. Hayya ibadallah, ahibba Allah, sallu ala nabi. Hayya ibadallah, ahibba Allah, sallu ala nabi. He's a mercy for mankind. His speech was gentle and kind. He summoned people to Allah and led them on his path. Mankind lived in the darkness. Everyone alive was just blind. His message brought the light to the hearts that had no sight. In mercy, he's the ocean, while others are drops away. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Ya Rasul Allah, Ya Habib Allah, Ya Safi Allah. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Anta gharami, dhikru kalami kulla ayami. Forever we'll be indebted to him for this Islam. Our life for him will give. His message with us will live. Our love for him knows no bounds. It is loftier than the clouds. Whenever his name is mentioned, our tears begin to flow. Oh Allah, send your blessings on Al-Mustafa. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Anta Ghali, Dhikruka Lami, Kulla Ayyam. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Ya Rasul Allah, Ya Habib Allah, Ya Safi Allah. Ya Habibi, Ya Mustafa, Ya Nabi Allah, Ya Wali Allah, Ya Wali Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, you are tuning into Her Chronicles. I'm your host Maleeha Iqbal, and before the Nasheed break I was discussing Peterborough's culture, how I'm finding ways to connect Peterborough's culture by trying to identify it, but also trying to experience it in a way where I don't feel like an imposter and can find a deep, meaningful root into it. But I want to move on to young people and culture. So the question I'm going to pose to you right now is, are there spaces for young people to express their culture? And when I came up with this question, I really wanted to answer it. But if I'm being honest, as a young person, I can confidently say I've never felt connected to Peterborough's culture. It felt like when I was trying to actively search for it for my projects at college, it felt like I was putting on a different set of eyes, because when trying to find the beauty of culture in Peterborough, I found it to be quite hard. Perhaps it was due to never feeling a bond with Peterborough itself, as I saw it as a boring city where I was born to, so it wasn't a choice I made. It was just I was born here, so I just kind of had to deal with the fact that I live in a boring city and it's a bit of a ghost town. And maybe it's because I didn't put myself out there, or I wasn't actively trying to find the positives and beauty of Peterborough itself. And I was a young person who was just like, nope, anywhere else in the UK, anywhere else in the world, it is just better than Peterborough. But that being said, when I was actively trying to find my cultural roots, or just find some connections where I enjoyed some aspects of Peterborough that way, I found that actively searching and meeting new people and being a part of projects in Peterborough it's allowed me to find a new place in my heart for Peterborough, where I still find it boring at times, and I do think we could do a lot of, the city definitely needs revamping. It needs light to be shone down on it in a good way. But through meeting people and through hearing their stories and making connections with people, where I've gone on to be a part of some really amazing projects, it's allowed me to have a deeper meaning with Peterborough, where I'm grateful. I have a lot of gratitude for the opportunities it's given me, and I'm grateful for the connections that I've made, and I've met some really, really amazing people in Peterborough. And there are so many around, but sometimes it's just harder to connect, to get in touch with them in the first place. But once you do, you're never going to forget the conversations you had, or the person itself, and how they've shaped you into the person you are today, and how they've given you the best advice that you would have never thought of yourself. And so Peterborough definitely has its hidden gems. And I feel that young people, because of the connotations they have with Peterborough and maybe the lack of attachment or just viewing it as a place where they won't get to experience life to the fullest or have as many opportunities, it's really sad. Of course, everyone goes different directions in their life, but being part of your hometown, you want people to feel proud of where they come from and feel like they've always got a place, home in Peterborough. We are going to be going to an ad break now, but join me after the break where we pose the questions of, do young people feel represented in Peterborough's culture? How can we get more conversations to arise about culture as a whole? Join me after this ad break, inshallah. Thank you.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh queen cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakein.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Are you a savvy shopper searching for the best food deals? Look no further. Adams Cash and Carry can help you save big. We're not just a food wholesaler for takeaways and restaurants. We also welcome household customers at our warehouse in Westwood, Peterborough. Visit our website and enjoy wholesale prices on everything from drinks to flour, rice to burgers and much more. To shop, go online and collect in store. Visit adamscashandcarry.co.uk today to start your savings spree.
Craving authentic Desi flavors? Look no further than Desi Restaurant. From midday until 1 in the morning, enjoy our homemade specialties that will transport your taste buds. Indulge in tantalizing papri chaat and savor the rich Chersi Kadahi. Treat your friends to our fresh 1 kilogram Chersi lamb handi. Plus, get 2 12-inch pizzas for $11.95. Located at 298 Lincoln Road, we deliver from lunchtime until 1 a.m. Call 01733 555 795 now to order and experience Desi Restaurant's flavors.
Masterminds Tuition Academy is for your high schoolers, your something to provers, your subject strugglers and keen learners, your brave jumpers and fist pumpers. Affordable personalised learning plans are delivered through our centres in schools across Peterborough. But not to worry, we also provide online and home visits with flexible timings. Whether it is maths, English, science or 11+, Masterminds is a must. Find us on all socials and visit our website mastermindstuitionacademy.com or call us on 07516 166 003. Masterminds, master the matrix.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalising variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites, from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. You are tuning into Her Chronicles on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I'm your host, Maleeha Iqbal. And for the last half an hour, I've been discussing culture around Peterborough, how people can identify with Peterborough's culture, my own connection and feelings toward Peterborough as a city. But now I'm posing the question of, do young people feel represented in young people's culture? And I myself question, actually, what is young people's culture? As a young person, how do I identify with it? How do I express it? Do I do it in a public setting? Is it something that is personal to me? Do I share it with others? In some cases, young people feel well represented, perhaps through social media, music, fashion, stuff that addresses their concerns, perhaps such as mental health, diversity. But I don't think this is for everyone. Some young people out there might perhaps feel like their cultural connections come from their family and it comes from their home, and they've never really experienced it outside in public settings, or definitely not felt it in Peterborough. And so do we need to have more spaces where people feel they can freely express their culture, perhaps through all those things I just listed? Or maybe culture is a deeper thing for them, where it comes from mental health and speaking about issues they face at home, or perhaps in educational institutions. Or maybe educational institutions need to create spaces where people can come after school to share hobbies, or they can get to experience different activities or events happening in Peterborough. Maybe that's something that needs to be addressed more. But in terms of young culture, I've spoken about this with a few different people from ages 15 to 20, 24 probably, where we've had this conversation of, can young people connect with each other through places in Peterborough? Is there a place where young people can gather, where they're putting themselves out there to meet new people, to create friendships, to create connections, to get networking, whether it's in your career field or whether it's for work experience, or just to put themselves out there? Is there a space solely just for that? Or do we kind of have to go out of our way to network, to create friendships and so on? Can we find spaces for this? Do we see that happening in the next 5 to 10 years? Or will young people feel like there's never going to be that scene for them, and then that kind of creates that lack of a connection with culture, and maybe they will then just go back to expressing it through people they do know, through things they actually enjoy doing, such as music, fashion. For me, I definitely feel a cultural root through fashion, as I've always been interested into it. But another person I actually did meet at college was very invested in fashion and later went on to pursue a fashion degree. And from there, I learnt that culture is such a big topic in itself, but in terms of the different layers it has to the human, it can be a wide range of anything, because there you can be obsessed with music, obsessed with fashion, and it take you down completely different routes where you kind of create a community with other people about culture. It was as me and him started to speak about fashion and how we identify with it and the importance of it. It's how we created bigger conversations with people about why they dress the way they do, what draws them to fashion. And so just by speaking about these different layers of culture, we're creating more conversations, and so people can actually share their passion for it, and you can kind of see it in their eyes that, their eyes kind of brighten when they're talking about things they enjoy. And yeah, that's when I later went on to write a whole article about, does your fashion sense define you? And I asked pretty much everyone in my course, I think, which was around 15 people, I think, who were in my course, about ways why they dress, where their dress sense comes from, how eager they are to put together an outfit, why they're drawn to certain colours as well. And from there, we got opening up with a whole different types of conversations around fashion, and it became quite a big thing in our course to ask people where they got their clothes from, to asking where do you shop, where are the best places to buy such an item. And it was a lot of fun to kind of experience cultural fashion and be part of a group where we all share the same interests, but it's a part of who we are, and we're kind of bringing it to the table where we're having honest conversations, and I'm actually integrating into a sense of culture in my college as well, which was really nice to see. But join me after this nasheed break. Thank you.
Felt close to you, everything fell apart the moment I strayed from you. Then each smile, in every single sign, every minute detail, traces of you are found there. Wherever you are, I'll find you, 'cause you're the one I turn to. Wherever you are, I'll find you, 'cause you're the one I turn to. Wherever you be, you're the one my heart is to. I need you. To see your smile, I would pause every trial. Desperately I await the day when I'm by your side. Wherever you are, I'll find you, 'cause you're the one I turn to. Wherever you are, I'll follow you, 'cause you're the one turn to. Wherever you've been with you. You're the one. My love is true. My love is Oh my Lord, my sins are like the highest mountain. My good deeds are very few, they're like a small pebble. I turn to you, my heart full of shame, my eyes full of tears. Bestow your forgiveness and mercy upon me. Ya Allah, send your peace and blessings on the final prophet and his his family and companions and those who follow him.
Assalamu alaikum, you are tuning into Her Chronicles. I'm your host Maleeha Iqbal, and I have been discussing everything culture in Peterborough, what culture means to a lot of us, how we resonate with it, specifically what is young people culture in Peterborough, and why we need to celebrate culture in Peterborough. We need perhaps higher authorities in the local government, people who are leaders, to kind of unite together to acknowledge and appreciate culture in Peterborough through its many layers, through the amazing people that hold events, who speak about culture in Peterborough, as the sense of culture around here is very unique and it's very special and sacred within people, whether they can find it at home or they bring it outside their home into their workplaces, perhaps, where they share with their other co-workers what culture means to them, whether they give a glimpse through sharing their cultural cuisines, or they share a specific hobby that they're into, that a whole community has kind of created to allow people to express culture in a safe place. But culture is something that definitely does need to be celebrated because it's very unique here, and it's what makes Peterborough special. It's what makes it shine, because other than that it would just be a normal city, wouldn't it? But the people make it special, and that itself is a really beautiful thing. As for young people, I do believe there needs to be more spaces where we can actually connect with one another and we can share different aspects of who we are, other than, oh, well, I'm a student at university and so on. Yes, that is a part of who you are, but getting to know your character is something completely different, because that's not what you are. You're not a student. There are so many different layers to you, and perhaps we've been kind of taught through school or through other places to not necessarily bring that to the surface, as that's what employers are not looking for. Or in order to get into university, you just need to share about your work experience and your grades and so on. But no, you as the person is what the most important thing is. It's what makes you unique. It's what makes you special. It's your essence at the end of the day. And I think culture is kind of forming into my love for things and for people, but also my love for the city, which I didn't think I'd ever have, but I realized it's always been there. But putting myself out there through opening my eyes and reaching up a layer I didn't think was possible, and kind of breaking a few barriers along the way in terms of my mind, and also the barriers that have just been placed in the city already. Breaking them, well, not necessarily breaking them, but shining a light on the barriers that kind of stop us from connecting to Peterborough's culture and finding our own cultural experiences is something that I believe is the next step in order to making culture more of a priority in Peterborough and really finding a connection with it. But thank you for tuning into Her Chronicles. Join me next week, inshallah, Sunday 2 to 3 p.m. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I think we should all just be very grateful it's not raining today, because that is already such an improvement to the horrendous weather we've been enduring this week so far. But enjoy the rest of your day and join me next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
softly you call to me, out from the space between, out from eternity, where love finds a path unseen, out of the wilderness. You beckon my every step. I stumbled sometimes, and yet I never once looked back, 'cause I would see the man I know I used to be, how I was lost before you reached for me. No, I don't know where I would go, what I would do without you, without you, without you. Eser bir yer dağılsız, ne iz bırakır ne bilgi, yine o derin tipsiz, o şefkatle affeden, evvelim şimdim ahirim, benim sevgilim sahibi, bir okula misafirim, mezuniyet bekleyen. So you might see just what your love has meant to me, and what the cost of losing you would be. No, I don't know where I would go, what I would do without you, without you, without you. My heart won't beat without your love in me. My eyes won't see beauty without thee. Love's melody that you put in me would lead me to only silence without you. How